Sirui has been on fire this year with new lenses, first dropping 2 autofocus anamorphic lenses and now releasing 3 full-frame cinema prime lenses with solid build quality and fast t1.4 apertures. But what really sets these lenses apart is a feature that I've never seen at this price point. Let me explain. What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. I'm filming this on my new Blackmagic Pixis with the 35mm version of these Sirui Vision Prime lenses that we're talking about today. Currently sitting at t2.4, so you have a good idea of what these lenses look like in a talking head setup like this. This is the first of 2 videos that I plan on making about these lenses. This one will be more of a technical controlled overview because while I've had these lenses since January, I haven't had much time to use them in real projects yet, but that's about to change since I have a commercial shoot coming up in a few weeks. So expect a follow-up video with behind the scenes footage and real world results using these lenses on a commercial set. Now for transparency, Sirui did send me these lenses to check out, but this video is not sponsored by them. No money changed hands, and they don't get any input or review on this video's creation. So Sirui has released a 24mm, a 35mm, and a 50mm version of these lenses, all with fast t1.4 apertures that cover full-frame sensors, including open gate on my new Blackmagic Pixis. They are a fully metal design with Cine gear rings for both focus and aperture, and they feature markings in both feet and meters. The lenses have a consistent 67mm filter thread with a 72mm outer diameter for matte boxes. There's also a rubber gasket on the back of the mount, providing some level of weather sealing, which is a nice addition at this price point. Now these lenses are available in both silver and black colorways. I have the silver versions here, with each lens priced at $649 US or $18.99 for the full 3-lens set. And if you buy the 3-lens set, it does come with a blue hard case that has custom molded slots for the lenses and the interchangeable mounts. So one of the biggest standout features of these lenses is that they include 4 swappable mounts, allowing you to use these lenses on Sony E, Nikon Z, Canon RF, and Leica L mount, which is what I'm using right now. So while this concept isn't new, seeing this level of flexibility at this price point is huge. The process for swapping the mounts is pretty dang simple. You just unscrew the 4 screws on the back of the lens here with the included mini screwdriver. You lift the mount off and replace it with the new one, whichever mount you're planning on using. Now the mounts have 4 notches with one slightly larger than the others, helping you get correct alignment to the back of the lens. Honestly, the whole process takes about 5 minutes for all 3 lenses and is much easier than other options I've seen out there. One issue that I ran into is that the included case doesn't have a dedicated slot for E-mount, so I've had to store it in one of the other slots, which isn't a perfect fit. Because of this, I noticed some residue buildup on the back of the mount, which has caused slight issues when reattaching it to the lens. Like, it prevents the mount from being perfectly flush to the back of the lens here, and this could potentially distort your image. So if you're swapping the mount, just so you know, it's a good idea to clean the back of the lens mount before you're reinstalling it to prevent any problems like that. Now, I tested these lenses on my Blackmagic Pixis in 6K open gate and on the Sony A7 IV in 4K full frame. They cover full frame and open gate no problem with little to no vignetting. With a t1.4 aperture, these lenses perform really well in low light while also maintaining a really smooth focus fall off. In my opinion, sharpness is solid across the set on these lenses. At t1.4, there is some softness, but that could be due to the extremely shallow depth of field that happens with these. But in my humble opinion, the image is still perfectly usable. Chromatic aberration is also very minimal, with only small amounts visible when zooming in to 100%. Stopping down to t2.8 eliminates it almost entirely, and by t4, the image becomes incredibly sharp. I tested these for product and landscape shots at t8, and they also performed very well in those situations. Which, you know me, I love my landscape footage, so. Within a 3-lens set, there is a concern of color consistency, and I'm happy to report that color rendering is neutral across all 3 lenses, with no major shifts in warmth or coolness between any of the lenses. Bokeh is also smooth at t1.4 and t2.8. At t2.4, you can see it right now, kind of in the back here. I love how it looks with my setup back here. It also has a really nice separation between the subject and the background, as you can see here. And around the edges, there is some cat-eyeing of the bokeh, but rather than being distracting, I actually think it adds some really nice character to the image. Now, flaring on these lenses is prominent, especially with the 24 24mm, which loses a fair amount of contrast in direct sunlight. The 35 and 50mm, however, do hold contrast much better even in bright conditions. The flares themselves also look great and add a nice cinematic quality to the image, but they are pretty prominent and do take up a fair amount of the frame. So depending on your taste and the style that you're going for, this could be pretty annoying, but I like it. So yeah, focus breathing on these lenses is also very well controlled, better than a lot of Cine lenses that I've seen at this price point. Initially, I didn't even notice any, and it wasn't until I ran controlled tests that I spotted any minor focus breathing. So like, for example here, ooh, very little focus breathing just in this shot. Now we're in focus, cool. All right. Now, typically when it comes to fancy cinema lenses, you'd expect them to be heavy, big, and hard to rig up. But as technology has advanced and improved over the years, companies are finding better ways to reduce size and weight of Cine lenses without losing much quality. Back when I worked at a studio and broadcast department, we loved to use our Alexa Mini LF and a couple of Cooke anamorphic lenses for the projects we worked on. But a lot of times we would turn away from using those lenses because they were massive. I don't know if you've ever held a Cooke anamorphic lens, but it's freaking huge. It makes camera rigs really hard to operate handheld or balance them on a Steadicam. You can definitely do it, but in some situations where we were working on stuff, we were either limited by space or we were limited by time. So most of the time, if we wanted to use those anamorphic lenses, we had to throw them on sticks, which definitely limited our creativity quite a bit. These lenses, however, are fairly lightweight and compact, making me perfectly confident to throw them on a gimbal, run handheld with them, or even strap them to a car mount. I've also really enjoyed using these lenses on my new Blackmagic Pixis, because even though the rig I'm putting together is decently big, these balance the weight of the rig really nice for handheld operation. So after using these lenses for a while, they offer a clean, sharp image with excellent build quality and functionality. They perform well in low light with that T1.4, and they provide a clean image to work with. They're also compact while offering multiple mount options. Now, there are a few drawbacks to these lenses. The 24mm, like I said, does lose a little bit of contrast in bright conditions. And also, the focus ring on each of the lenses has a slight metallic sound when turning the gear. And potentially this could be picked up with an on-camera mic. I also think the lack of PL or EF mount options is a missed opportunity, but understanding that these lenses are meant for mirrorless cameras, and that's why it's so easy to swap the mounts on there, I can understand functionally why that was difficult, but it would have been cool. Also, the filter threading on these lenses is a little tricky. Now, this isn't a huge issue, but it did take longer than usual to align filters correctly when trying to screw them on. So like using ND filters or diffusion filters or whatever. I don't know if it was the step-up ring or if I'm just stupid, but compared to other lenses that I have, it was just kind of hard to align the threads correctly and took, like I said, abnormally longer than usual. I think these lenses fill an interesting gap in the full frame cinema lens market. For ultra budget Cine lenses, you could either go the route of modding vintage lenses, which is still a great option that I wouldn't necessarily choose these over. Or you can opt for cheaper full frame Cine glass from brands like SLR Magic, Rokinon, Samyang, or 7 Artisans, which typically those lenses will cost you less than $500 a lens. But they're gonna have limitations in lens mount and possibly image quality. Now, if you wanna go higher end budget, options like the Cimera Cs or the Nisi Athena Prime lenses are more expensive, but they do deliver a slightly better optical performance, and the Athenas come in a PL mount option. Sirui also has their Jupiter T2 lenses that provide a macro option if that's something you're interested in, but they're not gonna be as fast as these lenses or the Cimera Cs. Those lenses also cost anywhere from $600 to $1,300 a lens and will again limit you to one lens mount, unless you go with PL and buy adapters, which will cost you more money. Also, I know a lot of people are interested in comparisons with these lenses to those lenses like the Cimera Cs or the Nisis. I unfortunately do not have the budget to do those comparisons, but I will link some YouTube videos from channels I really like that have done those comparisons. I'll leave those in the description. Ultimately, yeah, I'd recommend picking up these lenses, but not without understanding that there's still really good options on the market. If you want an actually affordable Cine lens set that will be somewhat future-proof and are still very good quality, then these would be a great way to go, and I would totally recommend picking them up. But if you want lenses that have some character or have PL mount options, then you might be better off spending more money for the Cimera C lenses or the Nisi Athena Prime lenses, or modding out some used vintage lenses, which I'm still doing. I have like 4 4 over there. I'm working on it. I've also heard rumors that a wider angle and a telephoto version of these lenses could be coming later this year, which a 5-lens set of these would be really awesome. I feel really excited that we're in a day and age that we have options, that there's not just like really expensive, fantastic lenses or really cheap, terrible lenses, but that we have all these different routes to choose from, and it comes down to your taste, your style, and what fits your project the best. But anyway, I hope this video helped you in your search for affordable cine glass and maybe helped you decide on an option. If it happens to be these lenses that you choose, there are links in the description. They are affiliate links, so if you purchase from those links, it does support the channel. Thank you so much if you do. And if you enjoyed this video, maybe watch this video next, and make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell button so you never miss out on new young filmmaker content. Good luck filmmaking.